Last year, I had a very strange experience in the national forest out in California. I was by myself on a road trip with my dog, and I was driving pretty far into the Mendocino National Forest. I like to camp in national forests/parks because it's isolated. My dog can roam, and they're free of charge. A trade-off for sketchy/rough drives into parks sometimes, and a lack of service/assistance can, yeah. Anyways, I was driving up this dirt road, kind of curling up a mountain around maybe 5 p.m. It was pretty nice out, sunny, warm, with a slight breeze. Nothing serious happened, but I felt extremely uncomfortable driving into the area, and the feeling never let up. Driving up the mountain, I felt like I shouldn't stay there, and I even texted my boyfriend about it for as long as I could before my phone completely lost service. I was looking for a sign of another person having been around the area lately, but I didn't see anything. I pulled over and got out of my car with my dog to look over the edge and noticed a dead squirrel and some broken glass mixed in the dirt and gravel road. Yuka, my dog, started to growl slightly. She's vocal, but I've almost only ever seen her growl at another dog. I did see her growl at a possum once, so it could be something she smelled, maybe? This place continued to make me feel a little bit on edge, but I pride myself in being an independent traveler and backpacker, so I decided to continue and at least a bit further with my grumbling pup to see if I could find a good place to camp. I continue to notice more dead animals. Keep in mind, no one is going to be more than 5 to 10 miles per hour up this thing, and if there's anyone even there, I hear male voices. They sound close, and I think I should call out to them, so I stop my car and then kind of freeze. I can't really make out what they're saying, and I don't see any sign of people anywhere. So I get back in my car and continue to drive forward and cautiously look for where the voices could be coming up from. I've never ran into people in national park or forests when I've gone this deep in. The unsettling feeling grows from these voices, which sort of come and go, and I give up and begin to turn my car around. I honestly don't remember how Yuka was acting on the way down. I was scared and focused on getting out of there. I just distinctly remember being surprised at her grumbling when we were standing outside my car. Kind of dangerously quick, I went back down the mountain, not seeing any sign of anyone. I decided to spring for luxury and get a hotel for the night. I figured I was fine. Huge and open spaces can be intimidating, I told myself. And the voices could have been echoing somewhere far off, and they just sounded close. Animals die, glass gets broken, nothing happened. Cool. But I remembered this place. It sticks with me. Whenever I'm watching scary movies, if I'm walking my dog in the woods at night, nothing compares to the feeling I had driving up the mountain, and it's honestly kind of interesting to me, as well as frightening. I recently happened across some information as well as some Native American lore that made me feel extremely uneasy. Fast forward a year, I've mentioned this place to a few people and the haunting vibes it gave me, but nothing much more. Googled the national park once, didn't see anything, but I didn't look much either. I like scary movies and things out of nature, hence my fascination with this little event. So my boyfriend and I were coming up on finishing our road trip just yesterday. We were in Wyoming for a wedding. There were only 2 to 3 hours left and the sun had set, so we decided to listen to some scary podcasts and YouTube videos. We went from No Sleep podcast to the X-Files and ended up on a True Stories video dealing with Native American lore. I'm only half paying attention, petting my dog, playing Pokemon on an emulator, and I hear the narrator mention Wendigos. Very briefly says what they are and casually mentions that they can mimic voices. I mean it when I said I had the most horrible chills I had ever had in my life crawl down my spine, and I stare at my boyfriend and ask him if he remembers that national forest I was freaking out about last year. He says he does, and he reminds me that he texted me and I was probably close to a Wendigo. I remember saying that, but I didn't know how much about all the lore and thought he was just being funny, and yeah, Bigfoot is probably stalking you or some other dad joke. And he was like, no. I mean, I was mostly joking, but I said it specifically because you were hearing voices that you couldn't find a trace of. I felt strange as fuck, and I started Googling Wendigos, etc., etc. They're allegedly able to mimic human voices, and they would live in that sort of area. It all matched up. Obviously, there's a ton of questionable info out there, but I tried to find more reputable sites and authentic experiences. I then specifically looked up missing persons in the area, and the first headline that catches my eye is another family goes missing in Mendocino. And I went through different websites and news articles of people going missing, but they are all a little hidden underneath national park websites and pictures of trees. I remember looking up the forest about a year ago and didn't really see anything, and realized that these stories didn't seem to be talked about much, which also piqued my intuition. It stated that there were well over 100 people in the past 8 years that have gone missing, and none of them have been found. It just as my intuition super spiked. Remembering how unsafe I felt and how much I wanted to get out of there terrifies me, and I felt so uneasy about what I was hearing. And to this day, my dog and I are very close. She was a stray and she started following me. I ended up bringing her home from Costa Rica, so her little growls along the way make me feel like there was something wrong, even though it was just a storytelling video. These stories originate from somewhere. I've done a lot of solo traveling, both in and out of the country, and have never had such a bad feeling. On top of seeing unnecessary number of dead animals in the national forest, which just seems strange, I don't think I'll ever be doing more solo traveling unless it's around civilization. Does anyone know about this authentic Native American lore, or has anyone else had a kind of inexplicable experience like this? Extra points if you've had bad vibes in Mendocino National Forest from a Wendigo.